if I've mentioned on the show before, actually, that I actually like doing a bit of kayaking. Sometimes I go into rivers around where I live on an inflatable kayak and go for about half an hour, but as you can tell, I work in radio and my hands get quite sore, so I've never done a hard day's work in my life. But my next guests are doing quite the challenge. Dave Rawding and Andy Davies are keen kayakists, and they're keen, and so much so they've signed up to an ultra kayak race in Estonia. Welcome to the show, fellas.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
You're the mad ones, aren't you?
Not necessarily mad. It's nice to have a challenge, and this is a pretty big one, certainly for two people who are generally slalom canoeists. So our normal racing is 90 seconds to 2 minutes. This 100 kilometres is probably going to take us between 8 and 10 hours, but there's up to 24 hours for everybody to finish. 1,500 people take part. There's never ever been a British crew do it before, so we're quite excited about that, and that was part of the challenge for wanting to do it. It involves starting in a lake, going into a river. There are some portages, there's some white water, there's some rapids, so it is going to be a big challenge. But the House Hospice in Hull is something that's very, very special for our canoe club, Kingston Kayak Club. Many of our members and families have been supported by Dove House, and when we saw this and realised we're the first British crew ever to sign up for it, it just seemed like an adventure that had to be done. So we've started training, and we're looking forward to it, I think.
Kind of looking forward to it.
Are you not so much, Andy?
No, I'm looking forward to the excitement of doing it. It's that thought of doing 100 kilometres, pulling myself down by my arms, and then the next day. I think that's what fears me.
I mean, what started as a jolly, we were going to use a plastic boat that would have been quite uncompetitive. I think because we've competed all our sort of canoeing lives, it became quite apparent that actually we wouldn't be satisfied with doing something just in sort of a generic boat. So we went out and bought a fast sea kayak, which is based on a surf ski principle. It's 6.5 metres long, very, very fast. So we thought if we are going to be the first British crew to do it, we actually need to set a decent time, really.
I keep saying you're the first British crew to do it. Why has it taken so long for Brits to put themselves in this?
I think because it's about 1,800 miles away. I think that's one of the reasons. So it's a long way. I mean, they get lots of Europeans. There's people from all over Europe go, but obviously for the UK, it's a ferry ride, and it's a pretty much a 24-hour solid hour drive. We're gonna. We're going to break it up because we're going to go to a junior championships in Berlin where we've got some friends racing. So we'll stop for a day there and have a look at what they're doing, and then we'll just poodle on until we get to the race. And hopefully, we've not been able to do any reconnaissance really, so we're relying on some local knowledge really about some of the logistics of us doing it.
And Google Maps. I've done a lot of googling. Looking at.
Andy, I'm going to be honest. You look full of fear.
No, just the radio, probably.
Is it? All right, okay. Well, you are from Kingston Kayak Club in Hull, so no strangers to being out on the water. How much is it going to differ then? Or is that what you'll find out when you get there from being around here in East Yorkshire in a kayak, being in Estonia?
I mean, we train locally. We train on the River Hull. We're increasing our distances. I mean, for Andy and I mean, we're generally whitewater canoeists, so we go on sort of, and we've paddled all over the world on whitewater, and this weekend we're running a beginner's trip basically on whitewater up on the Tees. So for that, obviously you've got the whitewater pushing you along, so whilst it's physical, generally a whitewater trip will be an hour, a couple of hours, and you might do 5 or 6 miles. This clearly doing over 60 miles with a constant speed that we're going to have to think about hydration, we're going to have to think about refueling our bodies, we're going to have to think about a degree of rest. So there's a whole load of things that are really, really out of our comfort zone that we're going to have to learn really between now and the 20th of April.
Yeah, you've got a bit of time, haven't you, to get your heads together and work out, I suppose. But you did mention very much in passing there that you're doing it for an amazing cause for House Hospice. Andy, can you tell us a little bit about why you chose that charity and that cause and why you want to raise funds for them?
Obviously, Dove House is a big local charity. They do fantastic work for the city and the surrounding area. And unfortunately, a number of our club members have had to actually access their services, so it was very poignant that we actually gave something back to them and supported the work that they do.
Like, I mean, I don't want it to sound be a cliche, but when you are finding it tough and you're going to dig deep, I'm sure it's that in your mind that'll keep you going.
Yeah, I mean, we selected this charity sort of middle of last year, and actually, sadly, even just before Christmas, one of our members' fathers was admitted for end of life care. So that, I think that brings it even more home, and you know the support that family got by Dove House once again was exceptional. And it just, as you say, you know when we get into the what will be the wall, I suspect is similar to a marathon runner. I think that actually having that in the back of our minds will actually just make that we'll find that extra bit of energy.
How's training going then? That's the question I'm going to ask you, because you've got, is it April? So have you already started looking after yourselves after Christmas? Are you in peak condition? Could you do it now?
We could if we needed to. We wouldn't get the time we wanted. We've had niggling injuries, which isn't a good thing, but
I think the age is the biggest struggle, because
you can't do anything about that, I'm afraid.
Yeah, unfortunately, it does feel at times that you'll get a good section of training in, and then you'll pick up an injury. So it's a case of recuperating from that, which we don't do as quick as we used to do, and then just getting back into the training thing.
I mean, with it being a double, I sit in the front and do the steering. I'd rather hoped that I could have sat there and had a gin and tonic whilst Andy did all the work, but it's quite apparent that isn't going to be the case.
So when do you actually set off then? Because the race starts on the 20th of April. It takes a bit of time to get there, as we're already established. So when are you going to be leaving?
We're going to leave the week before. We're very fortunate that P&O Ferries have given us some support towards the transport. We've got Peak Paddle Sports, who are manufacturers of probably the best kayak equipment in the world, giving us support, and they're going to give us buoyancies and cagoules, which are sign written with Dove House. So we're setting off the week before, because we're going to need a little time preparing, because some of the whitewater, whilst we are very familiar with whitewater, the kayaks that we do whitewater canoeing with are generally 3 metres long. This is over twice the length of that, so it's going to take a little bit of looking at to decide what our best route's going to be. Just before Christmas, we went into our local facility and we actually rolled it, so we know that we can do a kayak roll together when we're set up to do it. Whether we can do it in earnest after 100 miles, 100 kilometres is another question, which will...
I do have a plan for that. If we do end up upside down, I'm going to wait for Dave to fall out and swim, and then I'll roll up on my own.
It ain't happening.
Hey, if people want to, let's first of all, if people want to follow your journey, have you got a page where people can keep an eye on you? We are going to follow it on BBC Humberside, but if people are on the phone, I suppose, and think, I wonder how them two lads are going on, how do they find out?
Yep, so if you go to our website for the Kingston Kayak Club, so that's kkc.org.uk/charity. And on there you'll find all our links to our YouTube channel, which is Kingston Kayak Club's YouTube channel. There's our Just Giving page, and all our social media is on there as well, so you can follow us through pictures, through videos, and also give generously to Dove House as well.
Amazing, what a charity. Final question, how are you feeling right now, having spoken about it and said out in public that you're going to do this challenge? Are you excited or are you nervous?
I've been excited ever since we sort of realised with the first British crew, realised it's a country that we've never been to before, and it's great to be pushed out your comfort zone. Whether when we're returning and my hands have got blisters all the way through to the burns, whether I'm thinking that I've been too far.
Get your house sweat though, won't it? Won't it just, eh?
Yeah, it will do.
It is exciting. It's going to be a different part of the world, as you said, and just having that view of just paddling towards the Russian border, but just paddling across the lake and paddling across the river, meeting new people, because you don't often bump into Estonian paddlers. So I'm jazzed.
We run an international canoeing competition every year, and we really welcome foreign teams, and we know full welcome when we've paddled abroad at different races just how welcoming our fellow paddlers are. So we're looking forward to the spirit of that camaraderie around, and there'll be some people who are doing it for fun, but there's going to be a good percentage of them are actually going to be serious racers. So we're going to be continuing to thrive our training, aren't we?
Yeah, well, the training's been fun though. Gym every morning, on the river as much as we possibly can. So yeah,
we've got a paddling ergo machine at home as well, So we're quite regularly doing 5 kilometres.
No
on
messing
that.
about, is there?
No.
Not leaving anything by chance. Dave Rawding and Andy Davies, thank you so much for joining us on the show. They're going to be the first British crew to take part in an ultra kayak race in Estonia, but they're doing it all for Dove House Hospice. Thank you very much for joining us, and best of luck. We'll talk to you when you get back then, and maybe when you're over there.
Okay.
Excellent.